Welcome to the Flourishing Introvert Talks with me, Jo Rawbone. This is the podcast that celebrates the natural gifts of introverts so that we can flourish in all situations. Episode 189, Keys to Success as an Introvert. I've been asked many times what the magic formula is or how to guarantee success in life, and the unpalatable truth is there really are no magic bullets. So, in all conscience, I couldn't call this episode The Keys to Success as an Introvert, but I am sharing some of the keys. And I guess you knew that already, because like many of the introverts I work with, you'll have tried a number of things over the years, and that trying shows you're serious about making changes or reaching your potential. So it's clear that one of the keys to success has to be action taking. And as Nelson Mandela said, "Do not judge me by my successes, judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again." I've talked about this so often, as if a young child taking their first faltering steps didn't bother to get up and try to walk again after falling down, we'd all still be shuffling around on our backsides. You see, as humans, we're hardwired to learn, to grow and to develop, and from birth onwards. So why do we stop trying? There can be a whole host of reasons, and they include pride. Maybe someone laughed at us for even trying, let alone failing, and we aren't resilient enough to brush off their opinion or to laugh at ourselves. This links to lack of psychological safety. Past experiences where efforts to learn are met with ridicule, discouragement, or a lack of support can deter future attempts. This is what Tim Clark refers to as level 2 psychological safety, learner safety. Then there's fear of failure. The fear of making mistakes or not being good enough can deter people from trying new things. The past failures or negative experiences that we've just talked about can further reinforce this fear. But then comes fear of success. Some people are as scared of success as they are of failure and continually self-sabotage. What about loss of curiosity? As youngsters, we have innate curiosity and a hunger for discovery. Have you ever witnessed a 2-year-old's persistent why questions? As we age and face the demands of life, we sometimes lose touch with this curiosity. Then there's comfort and complacency. If someone finds themselves in a comfortable position, they might lack the motivation to challenge themselves or step out of their comfort zone. How about a fixed mindset? According to psychologist Carol Dweck, people can have either a fixed or a growth mindset. And those with a fixed mindset believe that their abilities and intelligence are static, which can limit their willingness to learn or change. And how many of us are faced with overwhelming choices? In today's information age, the sheer volume of things to learn and improve upon can be daunting, and this can result in decision paralysis. And one that I hear so often, lack of time. The pressures of work, family and other commitments can make it difficult for individuals to carve out time to focus on personal growth. And for some, it's about lack of resources or access, because not everyone has access to the resources or opportunities they need to learn and improve, whether it's due to socio-economic factors, education, or other circumstances. And then there's societal and peer pressure. Some societies or peer groups might not value continuous learning or have expectations that deter individual exploration. And there may be mental health issues. Conditions like depression, anxiety, or other mental health challenges can sap an individual's motivation and energy, making it difficult for them to pursue new learning opportunities. That's quite a list there, and I wonder if any of them resonate with you. Although I'm a lifelong learner, I can still struggle to be in a vulnerable learner state when I don't have the necessary psychological safety. And I have been guilty of feeling too comfortable too. But then my inner student wakes up and entices me back to learning. So as I've already mentioned, action has to be one of the keys to success, but action on its own and unfocused won't necessarily take us to where we want to be. I found that there are 5 pillars that enable my success and resilience, so I can get up again when I fall. The 5 pillars for me are awareness, attitude, ambition, action, and acknowledgement. Let me take a moment to expand on each of those, and we'll start with awareness. I can almost not say enough about the importance of awareness, whether it's self-awareness from feedback and self-observation, or awareness of the world, situations, and opportunities around me. It's oh so easy to dwell on the crime, corruption, and greed that surrounds us and think there's no point. That just invites the victim mentality, though, which serves no one. So as I see it, if I can be one of the many who are behaving ethically, then I'm doing the best I can. Too often we stray outside what we can control and what we can influence and get sucked down the plug hole of despair. I do my best not to get caught up in what others are doing, as I have no business being in their business. So why not start with productive introspection as opposed to overthinking? It's that enables me to accept my introversion as a positive trait, to recognise and value my strengths or natural capabilities so I can play to them as often as possible. And awareness is an ongoing process, so I always need to have clear boundaries and discern what is useful and what is not. I also need to pay attention to any new schemes that my inner critic is coming up with to try to trip me up. And that then reminds me to consider how I can get my inner advocate to be more active. There really is so much wrapped up in awareness. The second of my pillars is attitude. The most important thing here is probably the growth mindset, the concept that Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck brought to us, that highlights the difference between a fixed mindset, believing abilities are static, and a growth mindset, believing abilities can be developed. Having a growth mindset enables introverts to embrace the possibility of growth and change in order to develop personally. This means introverts with a growth mindset view challenges as opportunities to learn and grow rather than obstacles to hold them back. So challenges become stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. This perspective can inspire resilience, adaptability, and a passion for lifelong learning. There are other aspects of attitude that make up the difference here too. Optimism, gratitude, hope and resilience, to name but a few. I feel like I could do a whole episode on those alone, so I may well do just that. Next of the pillars is ambition. This serves as the compass and the spark that ignites change. For introverts, it's the internal drive that pushes us to achieve, whether it's a personal achievement, professional or societal. Harnessing ambition means defining our aspirations clearly and pursuing them relentlessly, irrespective of external noise. Ambition isn't about competing with the external world, but using that internal compass to be the best version of ourselves as we work towards our aspirations. It's the beacon that lights up the path, even when external validations may be lacking, and we know they often are for we introverts. And none of this matters if we never actually cast off from the shore. As John A. Shedd is reported to have said, "A ship in harbour is safe, but that is not what ships are built for." So my next pillar is action. Most of us think really carefully about what we're going to do before we do it, and the trick is not to get caught up in a doom cycle and think ourselves out of it. None of us can guarantee how things will go, so we need a plan, and as an ex-project manager, I'll throw in some mitigating strategies that minimise the likelihood of things going wrong and some contingent actions to reduce the impact if they do. The last thing I want is to be left high and dry with no plan B. I also need to be prepared to step from my competency zone to my learning edge. The majority of the work I do with my introverted clients is about enabling them to take small, sustainable steps that build one on another. That way, nothing is truly terrifying, and when we look back, they can marvel at just how far they've come. It's during this action pillar that you'll need the resilience so that you don't fall and stay there. Get back up, dust yourself off, work out what happened and make a new plan. Then action the new plan. Try not to get downhearted, note to self there, and remember it's all part of the change process. Now it's time for our 5th pillar, acknowledgement. You could well have been doing this all along as it will enhance your motivation, but let's be really intentional about it now. Acknowledging progress, effort and results is so important, and for so many reasons. Self-recognition boosts confidence and needs to be captured for revisiting at a later stage. It also serves to reinforce useful behaviours, enabling us to build that success muscle and therefore the positive habits. This means we acknowledge what went well and what could have been done better. And because we rarely get the acknowledgement from others, it's so important that we can do this for ourselves. Otherwise, we can fall into the victim or martyr trap and think, what's the point? The point is, you're doing this for you, not for the glory and the recognition. And if we do get that, it's a bonus. But my advice is, don't expect it. But that doesn't mean you can underplay your achievements. At the right time, be prepared to speak about them to the right people. Finally, you may find it serves to quieten your inner critic for a while, so your self-talk is less negative. And that, in my world, is always a good thing. So where do you need to up your game so that you can realise more success? Better awareness, more helpful attitude, clearer ambition, more intentional action, more appreciative acknowledgement. Whichever one or combination of those 5 pillars it is, why not book a free clarity call with me to set you on the right path? There's really no point struggling when you don't have to. Each of these elements doesn't just stand alone. They interact, intersect, and amplify each other. Far too many talented and ambitious introverts have untapped potential, and they know that they're playing too small. However, when equipped with the right attitude, powered by ambition, driven by decisive actions, grounded in self-awareness and fueled by acknowledgement, introverts like you are poised not just to make a mark, but to lead in their own right. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, then please subscribe, rate us and leave a comment, because we know that helps other people find the podcast. And if other people find us, other introverts can flourish.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.